David, verse 9, when will your walls come down? My friend Richard dragged me out of my 3-foot-tall Chinatown cave dwelling for a night on the town. Unfortunately, the place he took me to was a smoky, overcrowded, Wall Street fraternity-infested nightclub in Soho. I heard, "Hey, brah, what's up, brah?" 45 times before we got to coat check. All of these men wore striped, button-down shirts with slick-back hair and gold chains. The high fives were dangerously out of control. "What the hell, Richard? Why are we here?" I asked him as we walked toward the bar. "Honey, I have no idea, but this is where Tamika wanted to go celebrate her birthday," Richard said, ordering himself a Cabernet and looking around disapprovingly. I met Richard a few weeks ago at a gay bar, Chi-Chi's in the West Village. I was with my friend Paul. He was in search of a little eye candy. When we walked in, we saw a man that had a Morris Day in the Time look about him. He looked like he had been transported straight from the Zoot Suit era of Harlem, complete with hair parted in the middle. Richard's hand straddled the jukebox as he lip-synced Last Night by Keisha Cole and P. Diddy. Richard didn't care who was watching. It was a performance for himself. He turned around and began to dance in what I could only have described as a carefully choreographed and meticulously practiced dance routine. "I think I'm in love," Paul said. "I think I am too," I said, mesmerized by Richard's jazz hands and hip thrusts. Paul and I invited Richard over for a drink. Richard held an unlit cigarette in his hand and began his one-man show for two. We didn't know what was fact or fiction from Richard, but we knew he was gifted in a riot. Paul had to leave, but Richard wanted to hang out still. "You want to come with me, honey, to my favorite bar in Harlem?" he asked me while still dancing, his unlit cigarette hanging in his hand. Now?" I asked. "It's 2 in the morning. To be honest, I was a little nervous about going anywhere in New York past 130th Street after midnight. But I swallowed my fear and said, "Of course." "Don't worry, sweetheart. Stick with me and you'll be fine. Plus, there hasn't been a shooting in my neighborhood for at least 7 days," he said with a giggle. Richard led his way to his favorite bar, which was a fantastic spot. Patrons ranged from 21 to 85 years old and everyone danced. Right away, I spotted a member of the Cosby Show. "Is that who I think it is?" I said in disbelief. "Yeah, honey. Now let me get you a drink." Everyone in the bar knew Richard. They yelled his name with joy when he walked in the front door. All of our drinks were free. A few men tried to kick it to me. One of the men went by the name of Diesel. Diesel had recently been released from prison. "I know everyone thinks I'm hard because I just served time, but I'm really just misunderstood," he said, trying to cozy up to me, asking, "Would you mind if I dance with you, girl?" Knowing it would be difficult to turn down a man by the name of Diesel, I said yes. Richard and I danced until 5 a.m. "Come join me and my girls next week for Tamika's birthday," Richard said, giving me a goodnight kiss on the cheek. And now, here I was, a few nights later, at the worst club in New York, Nuka. "You know I don't do ghetto riche," Richard said, waving his hand around. "And this club is definitely ghetto riche." We walked up the stairs where I was immediately approached by a man named Paco. He had a pencil-thin mustache and smoked a clover leaf. He walked over and said, "Paco loves that pink dress you're wearing," he said while running his fingers down the folds of my dress. "Paco would love to see you in a pretty white dress." "Tell Paco thank you?" I said, confused. "I am Paco. Paco is the designer. Paco would like to design you a beautiful white dress, but first Paco would like to buy you a drink. May Paco buy you a drink?" "Yes, Paco may buy me a drink," I said, still confused at this third person speak. Richard glanced at me from across the room. He thought I needed a rescue. "Not your type, honey?" he asked with a smile. Paco was only interested in my dress. Richard was more his type. I looked over at the DJ booth and saw a man with a shaved head. He had nice lips and wore a hoodie. He didn't fit into this scene at all. "Oh, I see," Richard said. "That is your type." I leaned against the wall, drinking my cocktail, courtesy of Paco. And as Richard walked into the DJ booth, he introduced himself to play matchmaker. "Come meet my friend Maya," Richard said. The stranger walked out of the DJ booth and introduced himself to me. His name was Caleb, and he had good looks for days. He seemed young, gifted. Granted, it's a little hard to tell how old people were in the dark nightclub. This actually works to my advantage being in my 30s now. It's nice to be mistaken for a woman in her late 20s. Caleb leaned to me and asked if I was digging the scene. I'm not, I said, looking around. The crowd is pretty heinous, Caleb laughed. True, but the music is great, right? He leaned in close with a smile and said, how old are you? I backed away. This was a question I've been getting a lot lately, almost to a disturbing degree. To deflect that question, I would say, I'm 55. Which, of course, was nowhere near the truth, but they knew it was not honest enough to not give a real answer. How old are you? I said back, leaving him to be around 28, 29. Caleb hesitated for a moment, scratching the label on his beer bottle. I'm 21. Oh God, I thought to myself. There are two things that come to mind when a man a decade younger hits on me. I'm flattered and I must look good, but also, when did I become a cradle rocker? This is the second time this year I've attracted someone under the age of 23 and have found myself attracted to them. So either they are mature beyond their years or I am immature beyond mine. Unfortunately, I think I know the answer to that one. Caleb has a great sense of humor. He's incredibly considerate. He also possesses a warm laugh. There's no harm in getting to know him. By the end of the evening, Caleb walks me to my front door of my apartment. Good night, Maya, Caleb said, leaning in for a kiss. Good night, Caleb, I said, kissing him. The second after I bit my lower lip, we dove in for a marathon kissing session in my vestibule. I would stay, but my brother as well, wasted outside, Caleb said in between kissing. I gotta get him back to Jersey. No, it's probably for the best, I said. We should take it slow, I said, removing his hand from under my shirt. I crawled into bed at 5 a.m. with a smile on my face, only to be woken up at 8:30 a.m. by the one man that can wipe it off, David. Hey, I said, still half asleep. What you did last night, he said in his broken English. You still sleeping? Most normal people are asleep at 8:30 a.m. on a Saturday morning. Unless they have to work, David, I said, putting a pillow over my eyes to block the sun. Well, unless they're German, he said, laughing. You get my text last night? No, I didn't see it. Of course I did, but it was 3 a.m. and I was dancing with my new 21-year-old hottie. I didn't want David his text to change my mood. What's up, David? Do you want to get brunch with me? In an hour? He said sheepishly. David, 9:30 a.m. is not brunch, that's still breakfast. How about 11? I said, getting my alarm set for 10:30. Okay, mamita, I see you at 11. David and I have been dancing around each other for 3 years. Every time I'm about to start something new with someone else, he calls, he texts, he emails. He knows I won't be that available to him, but Lord knows he's never been that available to me. We meet at Astor Place at 11 a.m., well, 11:15, because I'm always running 15 minutes behind. You're late, he said, looking at his watch. Sorry, I couldn't figure out how to get to Astor Place. Why not? You've lived in every square inch of New York, David said with a smile. He looked beautiful, as per usual. He came over to give me a long hug. He never did that. Are you all right, David? I asked, rubbing the top of his shaved head. Yeah, I'm all right. Let's go eat, he said, pulling away from me. I looked at his tattoos around his wrists. He had fully sleeved arms and legs. His back is also fully inked. He reminds me of the Berlin Wall, except in the 3 years I've known him, I've never been able to tear it down. We also found this nice little breakfast place. I never feel too comfortable around him. Words always fail me when I'm with him. And I never have the right words to say to him.